Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to our Oracle Backup and Recovery Office Hour session for December 2025. Today, we're going to be presenting product updates from Zero Data Loss Recovery Appliance and Zero Data Loss Autonomous Recovery Service. And we will also be presenting um, a customer use case by Kyndryl, who will talk through and show you what they have um, what they have implemented and benefits they are seeing with Recovery Appliance and Recovery Service in their Oracle database environments. So we have our product management team. My name is Tim Chen, and with me, my team members Gagan Singh and Alan Best. And then from Kyndryl, the Oracle Solutions Delivery team, Vinay Singh, Ifte Mohammed, and Balak Kadian. So let's go and get started. And if you want to ask questions, feel free to use the Q&A on the webinar function here. So we're going to first cover product updates from Recovery Appliance on a new virtual air gap feature. These are for Cyber Vault and Cyber Resiliency use cases. I will then go through new CSS Cyber Vault services that utilize this new feature and allow you and your customers to be able to leverage these new technologies. Then we'll have an update on recovery service with a new live lab that's now been available for customer use. And then Kyndryl will conclude with their use case with the recovery appliance and recovery service technologies. All right, so I'll pass it off to Gagan, who's going to go through the virtual air gap feature. Gagan?
All right, thanks, Tim. Let's get started. So let us look at a ZDLRA deployment in a Cyber Vault environment first. Um, so the databases are, in this case, there's a production database or set of databases that are being backed up to production ZDLRA. Um, Tim, if you hit click, like next. So an on-premise database backups to a production appliance are replicated to an appliance in Cyber Vault. So if you see on the right-hand side, the vault is connected today, customer managed secure network, which basically is the air gap, and is being managed by the customer network team, firewalls, and how and also on the ZDRA in the cyber world, it's this is the cyber this is the array that is getting the data replicated from the production ZDLRA. Now, when does this the interval when the network opens, for how long does it open? All of that, obviously, the customer controls and controls through that air gap network. Now, also, this particular network, like I said, opens typically should only open at random intervals, initiated from the vault. So whenever it opens, we pull the data. The cyber vault typically is lagging from the production CDL and so whenever this network is open, the backups from the production ZDL arrays are pushed to the cyber vault ZDL array. Go next, Tim. So the other part was, the ask. If you go back, Tim, one more step, please. Go back.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. So if you, the ask in this from our customers has been to get a more granular control on the ZDLRA ZDLRA itself to manage this particular network between this production and the cyber vault. If we do that, this also thus reduces the dependency on the other IT teams managing this network between production and cyber vault RA. So that was, one of the resulting asks. And there was also a bit of a concern that the downstream ZDLRA ports are always open in today's sort of a setup. Typically we just manage the firewall between the production and the Cyberwall ZDLRA, but the downstream is always waiting on a receiving mode. Okay, so what change that happened? Go to the next slide, Graham. So starting with the October 2025 RA23.1 release, we've introduced this new feature called Recovery Appliance Virtual Air Gap. Hit next. So what it does is it enables this replication network on the downstream to be open, closed, or open only in for a limited period of time, which we'll discuss a bit more in the coming slides. But basically, what it's called the limited feature. So what we're doing here again is we are controlling the network from the downstream ZDLRA to be open, closed, or open for a limited period of time. And when the network is open, the backup's gonna get replicated. So we're not touching the ingest network. This only works on the bond ETH1. This is where, for folks who are familiar with the ZDLRA setup, this is where the replication traffic flows. And we're just not touching the bond ETH1 alone. We are the automation, which has been added as part of this feature, basically also controls the scan listeners, VIPs, and everything associated on that bond event. So we are integrating with the grid commands in the background and managing it gracefully. The next thing is it. So not only are we toggling the network on the downstream, obviously there is data that's coming or the backup that's coming from the upstream. So the automation that has been included in the feature also self-manages the upstream replication. So for example, if the network is being open, at the end, once the network is open, the automation will go talk to the upstream and resume the replication, which today was more of a manual steps as part of scripts or other methods to control it. Vice versa, if the network is closing, we will make sure that the replication on the upstream is stopped gracefully, and then the subsequent steps are taken along with that. Now, with the introduction of this feature, obviously, go next, Tim. With the introduction of this feature, we have introduced some new RACLI commands that we'll quickly discuss in the next slide. Those commands are basically what we'll be using for managing the network on the downstream. Now, what it has resulted in is if you remember, there was one of the goal was to reduce this dependency, working with the other corporate IT teams because it's very complex, very time consuming, making them understand why we are doing this, what ports, So now that the control is back on the ZDLRA, it will reduce the reliance on the other teams and all that coordination and reduce the complexity and time spent on setting it up. So now let's look at the commands that we've introduced as part of the RACLI commands. So configure replication network mode, and there are, like I said in the earlier slide, there is an open mode, closed, and limited. Open is very straightforward. The network is a default mode. When you set it up, the network's open. But if it is closed, and if you want to open it for whatever reason, you go with the open mode. Just the exact opposite when you're hitting the close. If it is open, and you will once your setup is complete, and now you want to close the network, you will go to the closed mode, which is where the downstream will be for the most of the time. We want to keep that network closed. What we've also done is, for customers who use the compliance mode, quorum is enabled. These commands do respect that, so they do follow the quorum approval if they are enabled on the appliance. Last but not the least, it's the limited mode, which is what is the key deliverable. If you look at it over here, is when you put the limited mode for X minutes or whatever the time interval is, the automation will realize that, okay, I have, once this command is executed, I need to be open for these many minutes. The network will open. It will bring up all the scan listeners, VIPs on the downstream. It will let the upstream know, hey, the network's open. Please resume the replication. And once that timer expires, we will do the opposite. We will stop the replication on the upstream. We will stop the scan listeners VIPs only on the replication network, and finally close the bond each one. We also do respect that if the network is closed, the interface is down. If there is a reboot and all, the automation takes care of that. It's not that when you reboot the networks again, we will bring up. So we closely work with with the grid infrastructure, with the rack interfaces, or the Exadata interfaces, just to make sure that whatever mode we are running in, we will honor that. The next one is more of a status command, just to see what status are you running it. So if folks who are putting it as part of scripting and all, and they want to look at the status, this will just tell you. And we have a demo, and we will show these commands as part of that. The third one is we've introduced this watcher on the upstream. What it does is just keeps an eye and keeps a ping onto the network, because we just want to make sure that if the network is open, and for whatever reason, if the upstream has been paused and the intention was that upstream replication is not to be paused, this watcher will keep an eye. It will go keep an eye on the network. It will keep an eye on the upstream replication. And if there is any chance that the network is open and the replication is supposed to resume, this will again make sure that the replication resumes from there. So this is more of a watcher that runs on the upstream. Okay, so next is a demo. It's around 5 or so minutes. Please, check on the status on the putty window, and then on the right hand side. This one takes a little bit, like 20-30 seconds till the next command comes, so bear with me for that. But what we're doing here is first of all, we're checking the RSCLI status. Right now, this network, if you see, the network mode is open. So we will go ahead and close it, which is how your typically setup would be. You'll deploy a ZDLRA, the network will be open. You'll say, I don't want, this is a cyber vault, I want to close the network. As part of the closure, we will go stop the upstream replication. If you see, we're stopping the scan and the rest of it. The green text that you see is on the upstream. So we're running a list replication command over there, and then you see the replication has been paused on the upstream. So we'll go back. Excuse me. We will go back to the downstream. This is more of a validation. If you look at the bond ETH1, that interface has been stopped. The VIPs on that particular net num2, which is what our application network is plumbed to, is stopped. The listeners on those on that particular network is stopped. Now we'll do the exact opposite. Let's say for whatever reason you need to open this network manually. If you look at the status command, the same thing, the status is closed. And then we go ahead and we say, this is more validation, just making sure the bond is down. We're checking the upstream at this time. It is paused as expected from the last command that we ran. We go back and we run we're doing some more validation, making sure that, the network is down. This is just as part of the demo. You don't have to do it every time. And then we will go and run the open command. There you go. This is doing the exact opposite. Every command that we're running, obviously, we're spooling it to a log directory. We are bringing up the interface, we're bringing up the scan instance. And by the way, we are managing both nodes over here. There are multiple nodes as part of the array. We're managing both nodes. And at the end of the start command, obviously, it's the opposite. So at the end of it, we'll go resume the replication on the upstream. Again, some validation steps. If you see, the bond ETH1 has been brought up. The scan listeners and the VIPs have been brought up. We'll do a quick check on the upstream, doing a replication, checking on the replication server, and it is running now. So this is very straightforward, very binary, close and open. And then the third one, which is where most interest is going to be, we will check at the status. So obviously we've closed the network just to mimic a real scenario. We are checking the upstream replication, and it has been paused. Then we'll go back on the downstream. So this is the limited command. So for the sake of the demo, we've set 5 minutes. As soon as this command is executed, the we're basically executing an open command. Uh, what we just demoed 2 minutes ago, we will go start the network. Uh, the spool output that you see is a little bit different because we're saying start configure application network to a limited on remote nodes, not open mode. We will, because this is a limited mode. At the end of it, we will resume replication. All the network on the downstream is up. Very similar to an open command because that's what we've done. We've opened up the network and we've told the upstream replication server to resume the replication to the cyber vault. And if you check the status, you will see that it's not, even though the network's open, but we call it limited because we are in the limited mode. So we will publish what the mode is in the status command. So this was done around 11:23 on the demo time. So give or take 5 minutes. 11:28, and I think there'll be one more check on the status. Waiting for that 5 minute to expire, and it should be any time now. There you go. So if you look at the status has been closed. So that 5 minute timer is expired, and now we've closed the network. Another validation on the upstream, which should be paused by now. There you go. And that is the end of the demo. Back to you, Tim, or questions?
Great. Yeah, this is great to walk through it and to see kind of it in action. And what I want to discuss now is a new set of Cyber Vault services from the Oracle's Customer Success Services team that can assist you with implementing this feature. It'll also help you design your Cyber Vault environments. So, just like we covered earlier, kind of a recap of the overall architecture, your local databases are backing up, sending real-time redo to the recovery appliance. And then you have the Cyber Vault RA in its own isolated zone. And this control today can be done through the RA itself with the virtual air gap. Other customers have implemented this on the data center corporate network side through firewalls and switches and so forth, which is perfectly fine and can be done. And we're introducing the virtual air gap as just another method to be able to do that from the RA itself. So with this new virtual air gap service, our CSS team has worked with customers just on their Cyber Vault design and their data centers in the past. The services that are needed or should be aware of, starting from the left side, which is on the database side, the CSS does offer a service to be able to do security risk assessments, looking at encryption, for example, for your databases, proposing how to do implementing that encryption at TDE, and also Oracle Key Vault. This is the Key Vault or the key management system is actually area that may not be as visible at the first kind of planning stages, but it is absolutely critical because the keys that we're talking about here are absolutely required to be able to recover and restore databases if they're encrypted, right? So the TDE, if you've done that encryption, then keys should be managed ideally in a separate key management system, and OKV is Oracle's offering there. If you have the backups going to the recovery appliance, those are encrypted. If they're going out to the Cyber Vault, those are encrypted. So your key management systems have to be available wherever the database needs to be restored. That's the main point. And so we definitely promote and recommend solutions around that. And you can take a closer look at that under the CSS service there. They can also plan out your primary backup deployment. So technical account manager gets assigned and you'll be able to have the system installed. That's part of the config service that you have with the delivery of the system. And then the additional service is to actually configure databases. So once you have the system deployed, configure and onboard new protected databases and run test backups from selected databases. This is an area that CSS can also help you with. And then on the Cyber Vault side, this is the part that the feature does come in, which is preparing the Cyber Vault recovery appliance for replication from the production, and also being able to configure that recovery appliance in the vault specifically for the vault's needs, right? The networking, the DNS, NTP, those things might be very different than in production side. So the data center or the cyber vault infrastructure um, layout, those could those may need separate consideration and really sort of architecture depending on your requirements, right? From a cyber vault isolation perspective, and so customers, depending on how uh, you know, from a network perspective, do they allow inbound connections for only certain systems? Do they only allow outbound connections for recovery appliance, for example, in order to do restores to another clean area or clean room or isolated recovery environment? These are all elements of a data center and a cyber vault discussion, which CSS can also help you with. And so what we want to introduce here is the new zero data loss recovery appliance air gap service. You see this in the middle where the new feature that Gagan just went through is part of that service deployment and discussions. So that means you have a database that's onboarded, the replications configured between the prod and the Cyber Vault recovery appliances, any firewalls are taken into consideration and configured as needed for that network, timing for that air gap, and also any immutability. Immutability is a big part of cyber resiliency. That's something we always recommend, regardless if you're going to use a cyber vault, is that the backups that are immutable on the recovery plans, they have a special lockdown retention. You can think about it. They don't get deleted or modified in their particular retention period, and that is enforced. And we enforce that even if space fills up and you have a lot of backups that have to be maintained. This is a regulatory assessment that our product team had to do for SEC regulation. So it's fairly stringent, and that's by design. But obviously, not all your databases may need this level of retention enforcement. But for those that do and are very much P1 business critical, then we certainly recommend immutability to be set as well. So once that service is done, then you have another service for the enterprise manager piece. So the other service that is a companion, if desired, is to install enterprise manager in the cyber vault. So you do have a completely self-contained, um, you know, production-like environment, which you can use in case your production is compromised and you need to essentially have all of the critical databases restored and applications as well, obviously, as part of that in your cyber vaults and clean room environment. So CSS, again, can help you with setting that management piece up in the cyber vault so it's isolated, has no crossover or access from the production or the VR zones. Just a quick summary of the delivery management tasks that are done in this new service that I mentioned for the air gap. Um, there's a script tool that CSS has developed and hands over to you, the customer, for your sustaining support needs. But that script tool does the invocation of those RACLI replication and management commands, right, that Gagan went through. And it also monitors the Cyber Vault system, the RA, for backups, making sure that the backups are up to date, the timestamps of those backups, the recovery metrics, in terms of the RPO and recovery window for those backups. And it also can do that for your production. So that script, can be used in such a way so that you can essentially introspect the production appliance in its backup state and the vault backups and vault appliance in its backup state to make sure you understand the delta, right? Like, what's the lag of the cyber vault backups? Obviously, because the air gaps typically closed, so there's no network connectivity. It's only open at certain times. So there's always going to be some kind of lag in the cyber vault, and this script tool allows you, the customer, to be able to monitor to that and be able to see, adjust accordingly your air gap window, for example. It runs on a separate VM, so it's not on the recovery appliance, it's a separate server or VM, and it calls into the recovery appliance this way. Basic testing is done of the virtual air gap, so we do all the necessary testing of all those options, the open, close, limited. We verify the replication network interface status as part of the service. And once we start onboarding the first test databases that the customer will give us, then we'll perform the backups, verify that the mode is working properly for that database and its replication. Then we'll do a automation test with the script so that it can kind of take over in some sense, and also randomize that air gap window. I think that's one of the things that customers really drive towards, is that air gap window shouldn't actually be a regular known thing, known frequency by anyone, even the customer themselves, right? Because they don't want to have a potential malicious user notice when it's open and be able to have some kind of better idea of how to launch an attack or how to do some kind of compromise in the network. So in fact, yeah, that randomization can just happen in the tool itself. And so even the customer or the admins don't even know when the air gap window will be open. This will also set up the notification emails for you in this environment. And then the last pieces here are to create the local runbook for this end-to-end implementation, provide some hands-on training, and then provide a summary of wrap-up tasks and next steps that you can do on your own. So this is quite a comprehensive service. It's something a lot of customers have been asking us about, because they'd rather have something a bit more productized and turnkey than them trying to design this whole network themselves. And so with the feature and now the service, it does provide a way to be able to get assistance doing that. This is just a sort of a summary of the, of what we've just described. In terms of the services that are needed, they're fixed scope services. That the part numbers that I just mentioned were on the previous slides, and there's additional T&M for any additional work that's done beyond those. And so it really requires some initial survey or review of the environment, because every customer can be different in like their requirements and what components they have, the recovery appliances, and so it does require kind of a survey first to see what part numbers make sense there. The customer service success services team will supply the CyberVault timer service. You supply the server VM. That's really the only customer need if you choose to run that automation tool. And so the data sheet's linked here. We'll also put this in the chat where you can kind of get an idea of all those services that we described. And you also should be able to contact your local CSS account manager for more details about this. All right, so let's transition to Alan, who will do an update on recovery service.
Yep, let's get started. Can you go to the next slide? All right. So first I want to highlight zero data loss times recovery service. It still has all the great features that make us the best recovery service solution for Oracle databases, such as zero data loss recovery, fast low impact, backup and recovery, and database aware ransomware resiliency. I do really want to highlight, for those that may have missed some of our last sessions, is that we are available in all multi-cloud regions, especially database at AWS, which was announced at Cloud World, AI World. And then we now have Cloud Protect, which allows you to protect any sort of on-premises or Linux x64 system within an on-premises solution. You will be able to protect that with the recovery service as well. So we do have a lot of documentation to read more about that. I can provide some links for anyone that's interested in getting started. We also had a AXTOM session from our last session that kind of goes over it. So you will get all that information if you are interested in getting started with that. But these are now available all around pretty much. Next slide, please. And now we have a live labs. So if you go to that link, I'll also add it to the chat. You can go and actually be able to play around with our recovery service. So the live lab runs in a sandbox environment, which is configured with base database, and it basically just guides you through backup and recovery scenarios. So if you are interested in recovery service and you don't exactly know where to start, this is a great place to just start and get your hands, like just a hands-on lab pretty much, and be able to play around with what the recovery service has to offer and pretty much see why we consider ourselves the best service for Oracle database solutions. So for those that were at the AI World, this is the same as the hands-on lab. It is very hands-on. You'll be able to really see like how things work behind the scenes. So please check it out.
All right. Thank you, Alan. And finally, we will conclude with Kyndryl team presenting on the recovery appliance and recovery service use case. All right, Ifte, just let me know when you want to start.
Vinay, can you please start and talk about briefly, and then we can take over?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, greetings, everyone. Thank you, Tim and Oracle, for inviting us today to today's Ask session. We are excited to be here. We have experience for about 10 years in ZDLRA in a large-scale environment, not just for backup and recovery and DR, but now recently using it as Cyber Vault as part of our broader cyber resiliency and IRA solution. And I also want to thank everyone who have made time here from their busy schedules to join us. I'm Vinay Singh. I'm Delivery Partner Executive at Kyndryl, and my team handles delivery for mainframe, distributed DBMS systems, SRE, and performance engineering. We do it for a major healthcare client. Joining me today are Ifti Mohammed, who is our technical lead for Oracle Engineered Systems, and Bala Kadian, who is a senior DMA and our in-house ZDLRA SME. Also, the purpose of this session, us being here, is to share our technical insights and answer any questions based on our experience. The views that we are going to express here, they are of the presenters, and they do not represent the official position or commitments of a company or Oracle. So this session is for informational purposes only. So thank you, everyone. Ifti, you can take it away from here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Vinay. So team, this is the architecture or high-level architecture of our setup at the customer. So at the bottom is the current state. I will first talk about how our current state is. This is primarily on-prem because also one step back. So we support databases. Most of our databases at the customer are Oracle based, and of them, like about 85 to 90% are on Exadatas. So Exadata is our preferred platform for hosting Oracle databases. So we have multiple data centers, multiple environments, and all that. We have at a high level. So we have production databases. We have Oracle databases running on Exadatas. They back up to the ZDLRA appliances locally. So this is our upstream ZDLRA in the same data center. And then we have remote ZDLRA with the backups get replicated. So we use the replication feature provided by ZDLRAs to replicate the backups from our upstream local ZDLRA to the downstream ZDLRA in a remote data center. So this is our architecture at the high level. Now, recently, as Vinay mentioned, we implemented cyber resiliency. And for that, we have a cyber vault. We are using the ZDLRA as a cyber vault. And we have IRE, which is our isolated recovery environment. This is for cyber resiliency. I will explain it a little in detail. So basically, the way we use the ZDLRA as a cyber vault is all the backups get replicated from our primary data center to our DR data center, which is also used as for our cyber resiliency environment. Now this ZDLRA over here is dual homed network wise. So on one side, it can talk to the DR region and all that. So that is how the backups are getting replicated from upstream ZDLRAs. Also, we have this, because this is our DR, we have Exadatas over here also, and we have standby databases running and all those things. So this ZDLRA can talk to that environment here. Okay, so this is our DR production network on one side of the ZDLRA. On the other side, we have a network that can only talk to the IRE, to the cyber resiliency environment. Now, during normal operations, during when there is no cyber attack, during regular time, the backups databases are backed up to the ZDLRAs, and then the backups are replicated to this ZDLRA. So we are not using the air gap feature that Gagan and Tim were explaining. So the backups in the remote ZDLRA are in sync up to the second, right, from whatever is happening in production. So we have not implemented any restriction on when the network will be open for the replication and all that. So this replication is always open. What we have done is we have implemented immutable backups across all our ZDLRAs. And then we have the retention policy of 30 days over here. So we will be able to go back in time up to 30 days in the past. So if anything happens, let's say at the time of an event, actually we do a lot of testing also. So if you are testing a cyber event exercise, at that time we identify which applications we want to test for cyber resiliency. And during that time, so based on those applications, we identify which databases we need to restore. So what we do is basically we basically restore those backups to any time in the past 30 days. Let's say we want to restore the particular database from 1 week in the past. So we identify the data in time, and we restore those databases into this Exadata. Now this Exadata is in IRE region in the clean room. It has no connectivity from outside world. So everything else is different. Even our IDs and everything are different to log into this machine in the clean room in the IRE region. It has its own application servers, and it has its own OKV setup. It has its own, basically that OKV setup gets replicated from the source. So we have all the TDE keys and everything available in this region, and it's completely isolated from the production region. So the idea is at the time of a cyber event, this network will be completely broken, basically turned off, and there will not this network will not be available. So only thing that will be available is the ZDLRA with the network talking to the IRE region, as well as the admin network, because admin network for this ZDLRA is also in this cyber resiliency region. So and we have Exadatas already up and running. They are ready. They don't have any databases, but everything else is in place. So we have all the RDBMS homes. We have all the infrastructure, ASM running, and all that. We also patch these Exadatas regularly and keep it up to date at the same level as our production Exadatas over here, right? So basically all we need to do at the time of an event or an exercise, is to basically restore the databases for the applications, and then to the specific time we want to go back, right? So it could be like a few hours in the back, or 1 day or 1 week in the past. So that timing is given by the application team or by the business, and we basically restore those databases over here, and then we bring them up and give it to the application teams, and they will connect to those databases. Sorry, I mean, I wanted to explain that. So this is how we have implemented Cyber Vault, and this is our setup. This is our existing setup. Now we are working on a project. This is already in progress, wherein we are migrating databases from on-premises to OCI Cloud. Now, OCI Cloud is our future preferred platform for Oracle databases. We have already migrated hundreds of databases. This is a multi-year project, but our future state is to completely migrate everything from on-premises to OCI. Now, on the OCI side, the setup is similar. Basically, we have our production databases on Exadata. We use XSES dedicated. So we have, and we are using, XSES service basically to host our databases, which uses Exadata behind the scenes. And we use the ZRCV service for backing up the databases, right? So the databases get backed up to the local. In OCI, there is nothing like if you're using ZRCV, you just specify that you want to back up the database using ZRCV service. And behind the scenes, it uses ZDLRA, which is in the same region. And they get replicated to another ZDLRA in the same region. Okay. Now, because we have cyber resiliency that we need to implement. So for that, what we do is we have DR databases set up, standby databases using Oracle Data Guard. So those databases are in the remote region. So this is our primary region, which is in Ashburn, IAD. And then the DR region is ORD Chicago. So what we do is the databases are, standby databases are created in the remote region using Data Guard. And from here, we are taking another backup to the ZDLRA. So these backups are manual, and those backups go to the ZDLRA we have here, which is used as Cyber Vault for the cyber resiliency setup. Okay, so and after that it is the same, right?
If I can interrupt and say three things here just to highlight, and thank you for going in detail, looking at this picture, and I hope those attendees, participants here, they are able to follow. If they have any questions, we'll be happy to answer that. So bottom, what you highlighted before was our on-premises solution, right? We had ZDLRA for a while, so it was easy for us to, when the cyber resiliency and IRE work came in, it was easy for us to quickly pivot and provide a solution, which also made customer really happy. Instead of looking for maybe a year-long project, we were able to immediately make the mutable backups, create the vault in a very short amount of time. So the turnaround was quick. So that's one thing I want to highlight. But those who don't have ZDLRA, you can start now. Once you have that, you'll start getting all sorts of benefit and looking in the future, right? Other plans, they come together. So that helped us. So I wanted to share that part. The OCI part, the top part that you mentioned, right, which we are doing, and we have been very successful. We have close to 400 databases now running in OCI. There, the ZRCV service is working for us what Ifti mentioned here on the right side of the top, right where we are doing the manual backup to ZDLRA, that's because of our cyber resiliency and IRE, because we still have on-premises. So there is a period of time, it's a multi-year effort. So there is a period of time where we'll be managing the assets both on-premises as well in OCI. And so we are working this as a hybrid solution. So there is, if you can imagine, the third phase, which is not here, is which we are working with Oracle, and we are, I want to say, getting excellent support. That's why we have been successful. The partnership has been great. Is going to have a solution in future where what you are seeing on premises for cyber resiliency and IRE, it will be in cloud for us. So once it's there, then we won't have to do this hybrid and manual backup to ZDLRA. So that's the third thing that I see us having in the future. Yeah, thank you, FD. Back to you.
Yeah, no, thank you, Vinay, for explaining it. Those were important points. Yeah, so this is our architecture. We can briefly go over our inventory. So we have, Tim, if you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so this is our inventory. We have on premises, we have 30 plus cabinets, both bare metal. Most of them are bare metal, but we also have few virtualized environments. And we have databases, non-production, production, DR, and IRE. We have 2,000 plus databases in all those different environments. We are in multiple data centers, 4 or 5 data centers. Across all our Exadatas, we have like 25 plus petabytes of storage. Okay, and now coming to ZDLRAs, we have 10 plus cabinets of ZDLRAs. They are used for both production, non-production, and IRE environments. And they are also across multiple data centers and a lot of storage. So our footprint is very high for both Exadatas and ZDLRAs across the data centers. Now coming to OC.
So the storage that we are talking about here, this is not the raw storage. This is what is the usable storage, right?
Yeah, correct, Vinay. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, OCI is our preferred solution going forward. So we started, I think, a couple of years ago, Vinay.
Well, no, it's actually we work on the landing zone, right?
Yeah.
We started on that second half of last year.
Yes.
And it was ready in Q1. And then sometime late in Q2, we started migrating. And in 6 months, we have now getting close to 400 databases.
Correct. Yeah. So we have, so in OCI, we have 10 plus infrastructures growing really fast. It will be like 20 in couple of months with 20 plus VM clusters. We have multiple environments, and currently we are in 2 regions across multiple ADs in those regions. At least 3 plus petabytes of usable space, and more than 300 databases, reaching 400 very soon. So this is our current inventory for for the Exadatas, and then on the ZDLRA ZRCV service, we have we are using in both the data centers 1.5 petabyte. I think this is very conservative. We are reaching close to 2 petabytes of storage on ZRCV and growing really fast.
Yeah, we are chasing a little bit to get more capacity.
Yeah. Tim, next slide, please. Yeah, some experiences, because we are big time into ZDLRA, we have been using it for like 10 plus years, as Vinay mentioned, and we have put in a lot of effort, a lot of insights into it, and we have like couple of DMAs, Bala leading that effort. He's our SME. and we have some other DMAs. So we have a lot of insight into it. We worked closely with the Teams team, and we work with them. So we have a lot of experience. We have a lot of custom scripts that we do, and we generate a lot of reports and all those things. So that experience that we have with ZDLRA has helped us in achieving, in generating the reports and all those things in the ZDLRA. Now ZRCV, we are having good experiences with it, but this is kind of relatively new to us. So some of the things that we are used to, we are finding new ways to do those things in ZRCV. So yes, ZRCV being a service, it's great. I mean, all we need to do is we just need to, when we are creating the database, we have to just define that the backups go to ZRCV, and that is taken care. So yeah, so I mean, as I mentioned, we are increasing the capacity on ZRCV, and we were not able to analyze the growth patterns that well, but that is we are learning that, and then we are getting the capacity in chunks of 250 terabyte every time, and as we are adding databases, we are also adding capacity. So and it's not that we just need to pace ourselves better with capacities for these services. We need to ensure that we give sufficient time. It's not that we ask today and then we get the capacity tomorrow. It takes a couple of weeks to get those capacity. So we just need to ensure that we have good handle on usage of the capacity, both for ZRCV as well as for Exadata in OCI. Yeah, I think that is all. If you have any questions, we'll try to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ifti and Vinay. This is great. Yeah, I don't see any questions here so far, but we may have a little time just to open up for Q&A at the end here. Okay. Yes, we do. Okay. So any questions that any attendees have? We have about 5 minutes. I can open up, allow you to speak if you would like, or just use the Q&A. Take a look at the chat. I don't see any open questions at this time. Okay.
Yeah, Tim, while we are waiting for, and yeah, anyone feel free to interrupt us if you have a question. So Cloud Protect and this virtual air gap, these are excellent solutions. We are not using it, but I can see, both being something that we would like to use, something that makes a lot of sense for us to use. And what I mentioned about, that IRE solution in cloud, in OCI, that's, I think, is another need, since we will have on-premises databases and OCI databases for next couple of years. But if we can start getting some insight into that effort and what we can expect, so we can start planning for it. We may want to, I don't know for sure if we would like to try and do that this year, end of this year, if it will be available or not. But something I think will be certainly interested to, by 2027, like maybe mid or late 2027.
Yeah, certainly. Cloud Protect essentially enables any customer now with any environment to back up to recovery service, right? So think about the object storage backup service that we've had for a while for the databases. That is now can now be upgraded, if you will, to now using the
Right.
recovery service Cloud Protect, right? It's the same functionality and better
Right.
with all
Right.
the features that you get
Right.
now on premise. So yeah, we expect a lot of uptake and be able to essentially, you know, harden and make even more efficient your backup strategies for on premises at the same cost, right? At the same cost as object storage today. We want to make sure that the cost is in line with today's use of object storage backups there.
Yeah. One thing I would like to mention, because when you were talking about Cloud Protect, I thought about this, that we used to be before Exadata, right? Before like 2014 or yeah, around that time, we used to be a major AIX, Power Series shop running
Right.
Oracle workloads on AIX.
Mhm.
And now we still have some residual these AIX machine.
Mhm.
The Cloud Protect doesn't work for AIX, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
And,
Linux only for now. Yep.
and that's not a problem for us, because like 85 to 90% of the workloads are on Exadata, and the remaining 10 to 15% are mostly on Linux machines. So we really, we from being AIX shop with 85% workloads running on AIX to almost everything running on Exadata on these Linux
Yeah.
machines. So,
Right.
but just wanted to mention that, because that's what I remember from AI world, that it doesn't
Yes.
support AIX.
Correct. Yeah. And we definitely want to hear from you and other customers if that does become a very higher priority need. We don't see very much AIX just in our customer base today for recovery
Yeah.
service or for recovery appliance. Generally speaking, customers can use whatever platforms they want. So certainly, if that's a blocker to move into cloud, because we certainly want folks to be able to journey into cloud. And if EAX is supported, then certainly that's something we want to hear about. So
Thank you, Tim. Again, I do need to
okay,
step away. I have a hard
okay,
I
stop.
have a question. This is Bala here.
yeah,
Tim,
go ahead, Bala. Yeah,
uh, the same air gap solution, which is
mm-hmm,
implemented in ZDLRA between
mm-hmm.
local ZDLRA and downstream ZDLRA, the same thing can be implemented, can be use it for data guard level between databases, primary and standby. I never know. I mean, between primary and standby, is there already any feature which is exist? I never.
Oh, okay. You're talking about data guard redo transport
Right.
feature to block the redo network
Yeah,
and
between
to
databases, between
between
databases.
databases. That's a
So just one thing, I just want
yeah,
to bring it up. The data guard does not use a replication network. Data guard happens over the client network.
right,
Generally speaking,
right,
I'm not sure if we can implement this over there.
yeah.
Not over the network between the database level. Is there any configuration changes between? Uh, because data guard will not work on over network, right?
Right. Data guard requires a dedicated, I mean, not dedicated, but it requires an open network for the
Correct.
redo. Yeah, you can't
Right.
close that network and just expect graceful resumption of service and so forth.
Okay.
I mean, things can happen, obviously, network interruptions, but it's not a steady state to have
Okay.
that in data guard today.
Yeah, you can defer and enable your redo shipping. If you want to stop that communication between your primary and standby, but we're not touching the network there.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
So just disabling the redo only.
Yeah, a similar
yeah.
question. So with air gap, we are like turning down or turning off the replication network and those related targets, right? Scan and scan listeners and things like that. Um, does it take care of OEM monitoring also, in the sense like uh, it does not, we don't start getting alerts that this network is down or this scan is down, things like that?
And Tim, chime in with no, that has to be integrated FTCAR, so it will detect a resource is down because agent at this time would not know why have we taken it down. So I think we we can close with the EM team and get back to you. But
Yeah.
currently, the agent is not aware. We'll take it back. We'll confirm it if they can. We'll let you know.
Okay.
How that handshake happens. If there is a handshake that's happening, where this guy is aware that this was a conscious shutdown, not a error or something like that, where the network is down. So that's a valid concern. Yeah.
Okay. Any other open questions? Okay, there's a couple of questions here. It's a little bit over past the hour, but let's see if we can wrap these up. A customer has two ZDLRAs and want to take long-term backup on tape so he can take virtual backup directly to tape from the DR ZDLRA. Yes, you can do that with the Recovery Appliance Create Archival Backup function. So if you go into our docs, the admin guide for Recovery Appliance, you'll find the create _ archival _ backup API, and there'll be more details there. For CMEC, master encryption key, if a customer rotates TDE keys regularly and RCV retains backups encrypted with multiple historical keys, does RCV have any awareness of which key is needed for a specific restore point? That's a great question. Yes. The recovery service, when you have rotations, that key, that master key, is actually tracked in the internal metadata on the system. So the Recovery Appliance doesn't use the key for any decryption or any kind of process to actually need to read the data in order to do any processing or anything like that. But it will know which key was associated with which backup. And you can imagine now that there's a lot of keys that are generated over time. So there's a master encryption key, which is the TDE key. Then as the backup is encrypted, we have a separate key called a data encryption key that's retrieved from KMS or from OKV, for example. And that key is actually used to encrypt the payload. When the payload is encrypted, then we wrap that whole payload with the master encryption key. So you need the master encryption key to first unlock that backup during restore. And then the data encryption key is extracted from the backup payload to decrypt the rest of the backup data there. Okay. But this is all taken care of. It's all kind of tracked. And so, yes, nothing is interrupted. There's no need to take new level 0 backups, for example, when you have a key rotation. A lot of customers do that, have a practice like that. This is all still incremental forever and is known by the system recovery service. So, all right. Great questions. So I would like to conclude our session. Thank you all for attending our webinars this year. It's been a great year, very exciting year, more to come. We look forward to see you in January. Please note our primary websites for all the information from our product areas, and we'll look forward to your attendance, and we wish everyone a very happy New Year. Bye for now.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. Happy holidays.